The Utah Jazz have witnessed a season filled with miracle finishes, including one that propelled them to the NBA Finals. In Game 1, the stage would be set for yet another dramatic conclusion. Early on, Utah controlled the game, as the Jazz seemed impervious to the pressure of playing in their first NBA Finals. In fact, it seemed like business as usual for John Stockton and Karl Malone. The defending champion Bulls' response was led by a remarkable performance from Scottie Pippen. Fighting off a painful foot injury, Pippen asserted himself to enable the Bulls to draw even with Utah late in the game. With only seconds remaining, the question became who would seize the role of the hero. The opportunity was there for Karl Malone. But when the MVP saw his chance slip away, it was Michael Jordan who found the game in his hands as time ran out. Another miraculous finish. And tonight, another chapter will be written. Game 2 is next.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1997 NBA Finals. Tonight, it's Game 2. The Utah Jazz versus the Chicago Bulls.
The city of Chicago, Illinois, on a beautiful 68-degree spring-like day. It's been 72 hours since Michael Jordan performed the latest in a career filled with heroics, and players and fans have waited anxiously for this Game 2 of the best of 7. The usual capacity crowd, better than 21,000 on hand at the United Center, and we welcome you. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, along with Matt Kukas and Bill Walton. And Matt, when we think back to the heroics of game number 1 here in Chicago, there is the image of the dramatic game-winning shot of Michael Jordan. But the reason the Bulls were able to put themselves in a position to win the game was due to the all-around magnificent play of Scottie Pippen.
Well, nobody knew what to expect from Scottie Pippen because of his foot injury. What Chicago got was a fabulous all-around game. Scottie started the Utah turnover binge in the third quarter with a long-arm steal, the lazy pass. And when he's hitting the threes, things fall into place for Chicago. And then he gets Brian Russell for one of his 4 block shots and turning it into an easy one. And throughout the playoffs, he has gone to the postgame more and more. And it's these kinds of numbers that give Scottie Pippen that complete player recognition. But playing all those minutes and doing all those things, I got to think Scottie Pippen's sore foot will be a factor in this series before it's over.
And Bill, the major question for Utah is how will Karl Malone bounce back from the critical missed free throws with 9 2/10 seconds to go? How will he react to those key misses?
Marv, failure in anything is like a player's jumper. Once it leaves your hands, there's nothing you can do about it, and you got to move on. Now, Karl Malone's agony was the worst kind of defeat, the kind where you beat yourself. You never do really get over it. But Karl's pride, his determination, and the support of his loyal teammates will ultimately make him a better player despite this embarrassing adversity. On the plus side from Game 1 for the Utah Jazz, they dominated the boards, unusual against the defending champions. They made the supporting cast stand around and watch Jordan and Pippen. The bench production for Utah was terrific. They do need to make some adjustments, the Utah Jazz. Get to the free throw line more often, particularly Karl Malone. Cut down the turnovers, an uncharacteristic 7 for John Stockton. And Ostertag has to be huge in the middle. Now, being close at the end is not enough for the Utah Jazz. They have to realize that Chicago is the type of team that as these finals roll on, they play better and better. The Jazz, they need to start going tonight, Marv.
All right, so coming up is Game 2 of the best of 7 NBA Final Series. And when we return, we'll be joined by Hannah Storm and the NBA Showtime crew. We'll be back in a moment.
Hannah Storm Storm back in Chicago. Tip-off of Game 2 is just 9 minutes away. So a little bit of time for us to look at the Game 1 performances of Michael Jordan and Karl Malone. Jordan's game-winning shot on Sunday night came as time expired. And on Monday, Jordan told the media what his most memorable game winners were.
My most memorable shot, 1982, is easy.
The tie, 18. Shot, Jordan, Michael Jordan.
Cleveland is certainly easy.
The inbounds pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win it! They win it!
That's the only two I can remember. I'm getting senile, I guess.
Now to 2, now to 1. Here's Jordan. Yes! It is all over. The Chicago Bulls have won at the buzzer.
I've had so many, I can't even remember them all. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. It's probably more than that, you know, to be exact. I mean, it's on an ad. I didn't do the research. I say what they tell me to say. It sounded good, though, didn't it?
Well, by contrast, Game 1 ended in a nightmare for Utah's Karl Malone. A couple of missed free throws with just over 9 seconds left, and the score tied. But despite a nasty blister on the palm of his shooting hand, Malone was making no excuses. Peter Vesey spoke with the league's MVP.
Scores tied. 9 seconds left. Oh, missed the break.
Everybody in this business like to tell you they have an excuse beforehand. So if they don't play up to par or they don't make the free throws, then they say, well, God, it was because his hand or something like that. I'm just from the old school that when you suit up, you're ready to play. You know, no excuses, nothing like that. And like I said, you know, I'm the one missed the free throws and nobody else shot them but me, but I never use anything as an excuse, and I'm not going to use my hand. My whole thing is, you know, it should never have gotten to that point because, you know, we didn't finish the game like we wanted to. But I've also realized that in life, everybody want to blame it on somebody else. And in this business, it's easy to do that. And I just don't believe in that.
We always hear about everything that motivates Michael Jordan. But aside from winning a title, what motivates Karl Malone?
I'm afraid to fail. Even though I learned from my failures, I'm afraid to fail. Because to me, all the people that said I wouldn't amount to anything, now all of a sudden, I'm sure some of them pulling for the Chicago Bulls, but that little, what they call snotty-nosed kid from Louisiana is playing in the NBA Finals right now, and to me, it's refreshing, and that's what drives me.
Keep an eye on Karl Malone backing up as he shot, and you should never do that. You got to hang in there on the free throw and follow through.
Those 2 free throws was big, and everybody want to talk about them. But to me, you know, I cherish the time to do it again. You know, a lot of people might not. I cherish the time to do it again.
That final possession, Game 2, you want to be on that free throw line,
yes.
Or would you rather have the ball like Jordan did?
You know what? It don't really matter. You know, any time at a ball game that we need it, I want it. If we was in Game 7, we got the ball, clock running down, I want to take the shot to win the game or lose the game. And that's something I carry with me to my grave because I want that opportunity.
It's not going to affect you at all?
Where I tell you I'm from?
Louisiana.
Let me tell you something. The only thing that affected me from that game to when I'm sitting here with you right now is the time. And all the time we've had in between that. Because I want to play. And I want to be out there. And I tell you what, I want to be in that same position again.
We'll see how the league MVP responds tonight as the Jazz try to even the series at a game apiece. A reminder that at halftime we'll be joined live by the the new head coach of the Orlando Magic, Chuck Daly. But Daly is only the second newest employee of the Magic. The newest is our very own Julius Erving. Today, Dr. J accepted a position as Executive Vice President of the Magic and Vice President of RDB Sports, named for Magic Chairman Rich DeVos. Doc, congratulations. What kind of job stole you away from us?
Well, I'll tell you, Hannah, it's one in which I wear a couple of hats, but I'm going to miss you and Bob and the whole invaluable crew here at NBC, because you've been great to me for 4 years.
Now you got this job, which is all-consuming, and a NASCAR team. You going to find time to play any golf?
I'm probably going to have a lot of time to play golf, but my first priority will be as Vice President of RDB Sports, and my responsibilities will run unilaterally throughout the parent company for the Orlando Magic.
Well, you and Chuck Daly are a heck of a 1-2 punch there. We sure are going to miss you, Doc.
We're very excited about this.
All right, we will see you, however, at halftime and throughout the remainder of the finals, and we are closing in on tip-off of Game 2 between the Jazz and the Bulls. We're back with that right after these messages.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Miller Lite, who reminds you that anything can happen at Miller Time. By Jeep, makers of the Jeep Grand Cherokee, Cherokee, and Wrangler. And by Castrol Syntec, the full synthetic motor oil that protects in ways other oils can't.
Just about 8:15 here in the Midwest. And indoors, this crowd is ready at the United Center as we check out the starting lineups. The home team has won 8 of the last 9 games in NBA Finals competition. And, of course, the Bulls have had great success here at home. First, a look at the lineup for the visitors, the Utah Jazz. Jeff Hornacek, John Stockton hoping to turn things around from the 7-turnover performance the other night. Greg Ostertag, very quiet game, along with Byron Russell, only 2 of 9 from the field. And Karl Malone. There's Jerry Sloan, the one-time Chicago Bull, head coach of the Utah Jazz. He's done a terrific job as head man of the Jazz. And a look at the defending NBA champion Chicago Bulls. Ron Harper, so important defensively the other night. Look at the second half from Michael Jordan, turning things on in game number 1. Luke Longley, Scottie Pippen, who had a sensational all-around game and picked it up in the second half. And Dennis Rodman, who Phil Jackson said like to see a bit more on the aggressive side, although Dennis did not pick up a technical foul. Well, we have double coverage on the sideline as always. Reports from Ahmad Rashad and Jim Gray. Let's start with Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Marv. The big story before Game 1 was the condition of Scottie Pippen's injured foot. Well, the big story before Game 2 is also the condition of Scottie Pippen's injured left foot. And just before the game, I asked him how he felt going into tonight's game.
Well, I feel pretty much the same. I'm not quite as sore as I was going into Game 1. I should be able to tolerate the pain a little bit more. As far as my speed and quickness out on the court, I don't know how much better or how much faster I'll be able to push the ball up, but I look forward to trying to push a lot more in Game 2 than I did in Game 1.
Well, if he feels that, you can look for a big night from Scottie Pippen. Let's go down and talk to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Ahmad. Well, 3 times this season, the Utah Jazz have lost at the buzzer. The question is, how have they reacted after those losses? And the answer is quite well. Against the Lakers late in April, Shaquille O'Neal hit a shot, and then the very following game, the Phoenix Suns, they lost to them by 5 points. In fact, they beat them by 5 points, I should say. Then, after Eddie Johnson hit that shot from around the world, they came back and won Game 5, and we'll see how they do tonight, but they're a confident team. Mark?
All right, Jim, of the Jazz controlling the opening tip. The officials, Hugh Evans, Steve Jabby, and Bennett Salvatore. The block by Pippen, who came up hobbling following the rejection.
Beautiful back cut by Brian Russell. Couldn't convert. Scottie Pippen continues to own him defensively.
Michael Jordan giving the Bulls the 2-0 lead. Pippen is trying to walk it off. He's defending on Russell, who fires the 3. Rodman rebound.
Well, the Chicago Bulls want to get out and run more, and that's if Scottie Pippen can get the ball and push it up. Right now, he's trying to find out if that left foot is going to work.
And Jerry Sloan opening up with the Hornacek on George. pass. Hoffer finding Pippen. Make it 4-0 Chicago.
Talking to Brian Russell, he is well aware that he has to play a lot smarter basketball game. It couldn't have been a worse start for him tonight.
Now Malone played by Longley. And the shot affected by Longley.
Well, the Bulls feel with Longley on it, it'll force Malone to go outside, which is what he did in game 1.
And Longley gets inside on Ostertag, leading to the quick 20 called by Utah.
Opening sequence on the back cut there. Scottie Pippen leaves the ground the first time. Too slow of a delivery, and Scottie comes up very, very sore on that foot. But then he just back cuts on Brian Russell. Have no idea how you can allow yourself to be back cut by Scottie Pippen on the game opener.
Well, here are the Bulls pushing the ball up the floor, and Luke Longley didn't necessarily beat Greg Ostertag down the floor, but beat him to excellent position where he could just work him over.
John Stockton, who the Utah Jazz say will be looking for more shots, was not offensive minded the other day, and a foul is called. Dennis Rodman looking for an offensive foul. Foul on Longley, that is his first. And here is the first chest at the line for Karl Malone.
Well, in an earlier Utah possession, Karl Malone tried to force something inside against Luke Longley. You got to remember, Longley is 7'2", Karl's 6'9", but uses that broad body so well.
More free throw attempts, certainly on the schedule for Jerry Sloan and the Utah Jazz. You see his career attempts coming way, way down. The last 4 road games for Karl Malone, just 4 attempts per game in the playoffs. Not enough.
Malone misses on his first 2. It's 6-0 Chicago. We are just underway. Jordan. Russell with the rebound.
Well, the double team came, and usually early in the game, Michael will give the ball. It's very important for Chicago to get the supporting cast involved. That means Longley and Harper have to give some offense to the Bulls.
Here's Malone. And Hornacek able to save it.
Terrific offensive rebound by Brian Russell. Keeping it alive for Hornacek.
Steve Javie with the call along the baseline, a hold on Longley.
Well, you can see coming out, Karl Malone is thinking about things now. The Utah, over the last couple of days, made a concerted effort. They're going to push the ball inside. They don't want to settle for jump shots. But when you're thinking out there, not just playing your natural game, that's when you get out of sync. Karl Malone's the kind of player who has to mix it up. A little bit inside, a little bit outside, because the jumper has been very good to him.
Well, guys, Luke Longley plays 2 minutes and 3 seconds and picks up 2 fouls.
Well, the first quarter of game 1, Utah did get the ball inside, and Karl made a lot of good passes to cutters on the weak side, like Stockton and Hornacek.
Early entry from Brian Williams, replacing Luke Longley in a holding foul. It is on Harper.
A distressing start for Utah. This has been probably the best starting team in the entire NBA all season long. Fall behind early.
Ostertag and a foul. Ostertag set up in good position, could not hit, and took the shot from Brian Williams.
In game 1, the centers, not the big stars in this series. Neither one of them got to the free throw line. Luke Longley better on the offensive end. Ostertag solid on the boards.
Greg Ostertag in his second year out of Kansas, a #1 draft pick last year, had an up and down rookie season, averaged about 3.5 points per game, was in constant foul trouble, also had injury problems, missed 17 games because of a broken right hand, but made great strides this season.
And Marv, his biggest stride has been in his physical conditioning. He has worked relentlessly to cut down the body fat, and he's just maturing physically. A bright career is certainly on the horizon for him.
6-1 Chicago. Rodman played by Malone. Williams being guarded by Ostertag. Shot clock at 1. And it's a 24-second violation.
Actually, Brian Williams spotted the shot clock at about 5, knew that he had to get something up because he couldn't find a pass receiver, but just too many moves, too many dribbles for Brian to get a shot off.
Well, Utah has missed its first 4 shots, and they're 1 of 4 at the line. 3 minutes have gone by. Illegal defense call for the first time against the Bulls.
And it's against Dennis Rodman on the weak side with Greg Ostertag raised up above the tip of the circle on the weak side. Dennis Rodman has to stay above the free throw line, and Dennis sensed the ball going into Malone and drifted into the paint.
I think Dennis feels a little left out of this series. He has not had the opportunity to guard Karl Malone. He wants to be the main man.
Well, Phil Jackson telling us earlier that he wants more enthusiasm. Traveling violation. The basket will not count.
Well, I think in game 1, Dennis was vying for the Sportsmanship Award and the Citizenship Award. But I don't think anybody in the Chicago Bulls want to see him that passive again.
That's not something you can try for. It sort of has to just come.
Hopper with a nice pass. It will count. Rodman gets credit on the goaltend. And it's the Bulls 8 and the Jazz 1.
Not one aspect of the Jazz game plan has worked yet.
Ryan Williams guarding Karl Malone. Here comes Pippen over to help. And the call against the Bulls on a double team. Foul on Williams. That is his second.
The Jazz are being successful in drawing fouls, which is outstanding. That'll get the Bulls back on their heels. But Jerry Sloan, before the game, talking about how got to take care of the ball. Second foul now on Brian Williams. Take care of that ball. Run the floor a lot harder. And put points on the board. 82 will not get it done from game 1.
And what a difference between games 1 and 2 in terms of going to the foul line of that opening game of the series on Sunday. The two teams combined for 17 for 26 at the line. The 17 made free throws, and the 26 free throw attempts were new finals records. Fewest made, both teams combined. But Utah spending the time at the line here at the start. Not necessarily taking advantage, but they're going to the line.
Well, throughout the playoffs, Utah has gone to the line 30 times a game. Their opponents are 32, so they'll give you the opportunity to match them there.
Off the steal. Stockton able to handle.
Be nice to see Utah convert these into fast break points. Brian Russell still can't find the range, but fortunately, Karl Malone is a demon on the boards.
Utah 0 for 5 here at the start. Stockton with the step, and that is their first field goal.
Well, there's a case of Brett Harper expecting a pick and roll, forcing John Stockton towards the baseline, and Brian Williams came up with Karl Malone, and that opened up the driving lane.
Bulls 8, Jazz 5. We are just underway. With a wild shot. Great move by Jordan, able to hang to adjust to get the pass to Harper.
Fast break opportunity. Convert.
Hornacek for 3. Rodman lost it, but recovered by Williams. And here's Jordan with the Jazz getting back.
Marv, the Bulls' interior passing has been very sharp early. Harper and Jordan particularly.
Shot clock at 7. Jordan, yes. And that is his second field goal. Bulls lead 10-5.
Well, this is the kind of execution that the Bulls got quite a bit of in game 1. Just a little pin down for Michael Jordan in the lane. And what Jerry Sloan wants his team to be more physical. Just don't let people come center screen. Make sure you bump that screener so he doesn't get a good shot at the body.
Help on Malone. Karl Malone with a turnaround in the face of Brian Williams.
Carl's starting to feel the rhythm. He often misses a couple of easy gimmies early on in the game, but once he finds it, you can't stop him.
Pippen. And Ostertag with the rebound. Bulls have a 3-point lead halfway through this first quarter.
This is much how Scottie Pippen started game one. Not very sure of himself on his feet. He just can't get into the game yet.
Here's Jordan. Setting it up for Pippen.
The running game of Chicago, just getting the ball out, advancing it. The players can't catch up to the pass, and a beautiful 2-on-1 execution.
Well, Rodman pumped that outlet pass and drew the Utah defenders up, and then the over-the-top to Jordan. Beautiful back.
Oh, Hornacek converting off glass. That is his first field goal. The Bulls 12 and the Jazz 9. And the Jazz settling down after the bad start. Down 6-0, down 8-1. Utah hoping to tie the series at 1. Jordan again. Game 3 will take place in Salt Lake City on Friday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time here on NBC, and then game 4 on Sunday in Utah starting at 7:30 in the East. Hornacek, yes, Jeff Hornacek.
Mark, the rhythm is there for everybody on Utah except for Russell and Ostertag. But what the Jazz have to do defensively is make Jordan and Pippen dribble before they shoot. They're catching and shooting. That's too easy.
Stockton, and a foul call against the Bulls. Timeout is being called with 4 minutes and 41 seconds to go in the first. The foul called on Rodman.
This is what the Bulls want to do. Get it out and run. Get some easy baskets to Jordan with Pippen filling the lane. And Michael Jordan trying to respond to 2 straight field goals by Jeff Hornacek. Gets it on the baseline, up in the air, creating space. Much too quick for Jeff Hornacek. A little sudden pick and roll here for John Stockton, and you're going to see Ron Harper try to send it down here, and as Karl Malone comes up to set it, Brian Williams is going to follow. The big mistake was no help for Ron Harper as John Stockton with a live dribble just goes right to the rim, and no weak side help.
Chicago invariably forces all pick and rolls to the baseline. Stockton, he doesn't mind whatever they do, but it'll work against Utah if he ends up on that baseline all the time shooting his own jumper, because that just leads to Bulls fast breaks.
But the difference between that one, Bill, and a normal Utah pick and roll is many times John Stockton will dribble into it, and it's easy to see it coming. That time he got the ball live. Brian Williams, as the help defender, never recognized it.
John Stockton at the line, only 6 of 10 from the field. The other night, 12 assists, turned it over 7 times. On the subject of pick and rolls, check this out.
Well, Utah had the early lead in the first half and held that, but then in the second half, when Chicago battled back, Utah went to their basics and ran that pick and roll much more frequently.
Was it a question of Chicago so successful defending against it, or Utah just not able to pull it off?
Utah was just so wide open on all their back cuts, they didn't have to ever get into the pick and roll. Just seems to be on fire, totally focused in tonight.
That's a 3 for Michael Jordan. He has 9 of the 17 Chicago points. 17-13 the score. Jordan to the board.
Stockton certainly going to the hoop. Very conscious about his individual offense. I thought he got bumped that time.
Steve Kerr has come on for the first time, replacing Ron Harper. Jordan with the fake. Yes.
Well, that last three-pointer on the play before, not just an ordinary one. Michael Jordan absolutely frigid from 3, 5 for 42 coming into this game. In fact, before game 1 said he wasn't even going to look for it, shooting 12%.
Here's Malone getting inside. Will not count. Offensive foul. Foul on Hornacek.
The guard screen very physically there. He'll come across. That's nice. That's a terrible call by QF. That's a great screen by the guard.
Bill
getting on you early.
You just can't throw your shoulder into the body of the man. That's a great ball.
And illegal block called on Jason Caffey, who just checked in for Chicago.
Little different substitution pattern for Jerry Sloan and the Jazz. Isley coming in with about 3.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Usually he comes in the first stoppage of play after 6 minutes. Looks like Sloan wants to keep Stockton on the floor longer.
And Isley played well the other night coming on for Stockton. Here's Russell. He can't find the range. Coming up on 3 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Jordan putting moves on Hornacek. Now Kerr for 3. Yes. Steve Kerr began the playoffs having difficulty locating his shot. As the playoffs have progressed, he has begun to show signs.
Or the defense for Chicago so much sharper tonight than in game 1. And Brian Russell 2 for 13 in the series. Malone strong, but no finish.
The Bulls up 22-13 and with the ball. Caffey's pass did not connect. Russell has a 3-on-2. Nice finish. Karl Malone. And he's shaken up. He and Pippen came together. Crowd wanted an offensive foul on Malone.
And it looks like Karl Malone hurt a lot of different parts of the body there, but the one that's giving him that continual problem is that sore right hand.
Yeah, he's playing with a severe floor burn on the shooting hand that was suffered back on the 20th of May. Bulls lead by 7. Kept alive by Caffey. Kerr trying to do it off the dribble, then decided to reset.
Good thought,
yes.
Steve Kerr.
Now Kerr is open. Yes. Bulls 25 and the Jazz 15 off the 3 by Kerr. A minute and a half left in the first. Back in Chicago, it appears that Karl Malone has re-aggravated that injury just a moment ago, involved in the drive. Puts the move on Scottie Pippen, a hard driving move. He lands on the hand, and we mentioned earlier that he has been playing with a severe floor burn on a shooting hand that was suffered in game 1 of the Western Conference Final right here. This was back on the 20th of May, and he just can't seem to shake that injury.
And that was an inadvertent trip by Charles Barkley, but so much of Karl Malone's game is going to the floor. Now, I don't think anybody can knock that man down, but he does go down hard, and when he falls, he has to protect himself. So right now, he's not going to be thinking of falling very much with that sore hand.
Karl Malone remaining on the floor. It's an 11-2 run by Chicago. For more on Karl Malone's injury, let's check in with Jim Gray.
All right, thank you, Marv. Well, they put some new skin to try and cover this open wound before the game. It was broken open on that fall right there. They tried to put some more ointment on it. It is bleeding. There is a problem with it. It's going to be the same condition that he went through probably for the rest of the game, because it's very difficult to stop it at this point. Marv?
Thank you, Jim. Randy Brown has come on for the first time for Chicago. Called for the foul to put Isley at the line. The Bulls are now over the foul limit. So Howard Isley, a 3-year man from Boston College, will shoot 2. How about the Bulls? 11 of 16 in this opening quarter, including 3 of 3 from downtown. Meanwhile, Utah continues to struggle at the line.
Marv, this is the Chicago Bulls that we normally see in game 3, as Jerry Sloan is just trying to weather this big push, this great start by Chicago. Offense, once again, the key for Utah. You got to put points on the board and hope that the Bulls eventually cool off, or maybe lose interest.
Lose interest, huh? Bulls lead 25-16. Utah during the regular season, pretty good free throw shooting team. It's 77%. Oh, Caffey lost it. Last touched by the Jazz. Tony Kukoc has come on for the first time. Phil Jackson has Kukoc with Caffey and Pippen, along with Kerr and Brown.
You can't say enough about the overall play of Howard Isley. Just terrific.
Kerr. And here comes Isley. Isley trying to find Malone, but it was deflected out. Rick Foster, one-time Chicago Bull, has come on for the first time wearing number 44 and matched up with Scottie Pippen. And Malone couldn't find anyone. Has to call a timeout.
A waste of a timeout there. You see a little bit of frustration on Karl Malone's face. Jerry Sloan, livid inside. You got to execute your inbound play.
Bill, I don't think it's a waste of a timeout. You get plenty with the extra timeouts for TV. Possessions in a low-scoring game, much more important.
Welcome back to Chicago. I'm Jim Gray. During that entire timeout, Karl Malone tried to stop the bleeding on the open wound of his right shooting palm. He's unable to do so. The problem is with Mike Kaminsky and the trainers, they can't tape that up, Marv, because he then wouldn't be able to hold the ball. And with the sweat and the constant banging, it's going to be an ongoing problem, probably until the offseason. Marv?
All right, thanks, Jim. We saw that ongoing problem right throughout the opening game here on Sunday. Shot clock is down to 7. Here's Russell. Oh, he went glass. Very fortunate. I don't know if that was the intent.
Ryan Russell has to play great basketball for the Utah Jazz. He reminds me so much of a young Scottie Pippen, still trying to play with athleticism rather than skill. He'll get there soon, though.
Ryan Russell, fourth year in the NBA out of Long Beach State, a second-round draft pick. Scottie Pippen. And rebounded by Jeff Hornacek. We are down to 15 seconds to go in the quarter. The Bulls lead 25-18.
So that timeout by the Jazz not only saved the possession, they got a bucket out of it, albeit a suspect one.
Final seconds of the first quarter. Isley. Oh, the runner by Isley. 1 6/10 seconds to go. Here's Kukoc with a two-hand set. Good shooting, opening quarter by Chicago. 11 of 19 overall. Michael Jordan led the way with 11. Utah finished with 5 consecutive points. And it's the Bulls by 5 after 1. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
You're watching the NBA Finals on NBC.
Well, three-point shooting for Chicago has been way off during the playoffs, but they have gotten it going in the first quarter. Michael Jordan, who only had 5 all through the playoffs, gets 1. Steve Kerr, who didn't even get a shot in game 1, nails 2 in that first quarter. Just 31% in the playoffs, 6 for 16 in game 1, but a good start here tonight.
Utah listening to their coach Jerry Sloan. He wanted him to get to the foul line more. They took 10 free throws in the first quarter, 11 total for in game 1. Only 2 turnovers. They're just down 5. They can start shooting the ball. They'll be right there.
And you can see the uplifting play from three-point range by Chicago. Second quarter is underway. Michael Jordan is back. Shandon Anderson, the rookie from Georgia, has checked in for the first time. Chris Morris on the floor for the first time. And here's Malone over Caffey. Caffey played him well.
A little bit of a force there by Karl. Got caught with the wrong footwork. An interesting way they set it up with the nice screen by Chris Morris.
Longley's back. He had picked up the 2 early fouls. Here's Longley. Lost it. And recovered by Malone.
Stockton back very quick in this game, even though Isley was playing perfect basketball.
Utah scoring the final 5 points of that first quarter. Here's Malone going to the running hook.
Now, Utah's going to need a lift from Chris Morris with Brian Russell's game way off and Kukoc guarding Morris. They got to look for some shots for Chris.
Karl Malone now 2 of 7 from the field. Caffey coughed it up.
Terrific recovery defense by the Jazz. An underrated defensive team.
Underrated? I think they're one of the best defensive teams in the league. Low field goal percentage for opponents, play basic, solid defense, and a good defensive rebounding team.
Bill is referring to his own rotisserie league.
But unlike the Chicago Bulls, they don't have one guy who you would say, now that's a great defensive player who can just shut down the other team, the way the Bulls have Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman.
Well, no, of course, they don't have those three guys. Karl Malone, however, first team all defensive. Stockton, a steals leader, although he has problems with individual defense.
Oh, Stockton just looking to beat the 24. Here's Jordan. And kept alive by Caffey.
Nice passing.
Longley. And a loose ball foul. It is on Caffey. That is his second. 2 minutes gone by. In the second quarter, neither club has scored. Here in the second, Ryan Williams checking back in, replacing Jason Caffey.
Marv, in game one, the Jazz controlled the boards throughout the game. Early on here, Chicago back to their customary position, up 15-10 on the glass. Get Antoine Carr off here for the Utah Jazz. He needs a jumper.
And Carr tripped up. Foul on Williams. That's 3 on Brian Williams. It leads to a timeout.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Nissan, who reminds you that life is a journey. Enjoy the ride. By Sprite. Image is nothing. Thirst is everything. Obey your thirst. Sprite. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires.
Well, these aerial views of Chicago being brought to you by Goodyear. Marv Albert with Matt Guzis, Bill Walton, Mark Rashad, Jim Gray, 9:53 to go in the first half. And the Bulls lead the Jazz 25-20.
Now for Karl Malone, the best way to exercise the negativism from the end of game one is to come out with a huge offensive game. It's not been the case. Everything has been short, the front of the rim. And after every time something doesn't go down for him, he looks at that right hand and that big gaping wound as big as the Grand Canyon right now as Karl takes his regular breather. Jerry Sloan telling us that he substitutes much more by the clock than he does by how the flow of the game goes.
And the Bulls have cooled off. They started out 11-16. They've missed their last 6 shots. Foster with the drive and a foul before the shot attempt. Foul on Caffey. That is his 3rd.
Poor shooting for everybody with the exception of Hornacek. Hornacek got those nice looks on Michael early on, but Stockton, Russell in particular, and Karl Malone.
Here's Carr. Yes. Antoine Carr brings the Jazz within 3. How about the personal foul calls? Chicago has been hit with 11. Utah, only 1. It was an offensive foul. That's it.
Well, in that first quarter, the Utah players weren't close enough to even get up on a shooter.
And you can hear the reaction as finally there is a personal foul call against the Jazz that puts Kukoc on the line. It's on Morris. Well, throughout the NBA Finals, our own NBA on NBC analyst Steve Cyber Snapper Jones will be analyzing the games live online on NBCSports.com. Steve answering any questions that you might have about the game or the series while providing pre- and post-game analysis. Plus, after the game, you can listen into the post-game press conferences online. That's all right here on NBCSports.com.
I'm going to disagree with you, Matt, on the fouling situation for the Utah Jazz. This is a non-fouling team in general. They play great position defense. They don't gamble. This is not a dirty and illegal team. And they haven't fouled. Great pass.
And Carr, wide open, takes advantage. Antoine Carr, a 13-year veteran out of Wichita State. A guy who's made the rounds, provides toughness off the bench. That's his 2nd field goal. 3-point Chicago lead. Here's Kerr for 3. And the ball back to the Jazz.
Shandon Anderson, Marv, quick down on the double team and able to rotate back. I don't know if they move the 3-point line out as they're talking for next year, if the guards will be able to do that. Double down and still rotate out.
Well, the good thing about it is that teams will play different kinds of basketball. It'll open up more driving lanes, more middle distance shooting instead of just the inside and just the threes.
Michael Jordan was asked about the change of the distance. He said the way he's been shooting his threes, it doesn't matter. Judd Bushler, who just checked in, able to handle the box out. Here's Rodman. Led by Carr. Chicago's gone nearly 5 minutes without a field goal. They've missed their last 7 shots. Kukoc making 8 straight misses. Anderson with the rebound.
For Utah's bench, this is something that's happened throughout the playoffs.
Oh, what a pass. Stockton finding Anderson, but he could not convert. Stockton is back for Jordan. Kerr for 3. They cannot buy one.
Just the Bulls unable to take advantage of the situation where Utah not shooting the ball well. Karl Malone got off to a poor start in this game, yet Utah right in it.
Chicago 0 for its last 9. Carr putting moves on Rodman.
Not really Antoine's shot. The step under, looking for the foul, barking at Salvatore.
And now Chris Morris defending on Michael Jordan. Foul is called against the Jazz. A hold. Don Foster. That's his first. And for Utah, their second team foul.
Michael looking longingly over at Phil Jackson for a little direction here, trying to figure out what they can run to get a score.
But just let him shoot, do whatever he wants.
Rodman, and he was fouled. Nice pass from Kukoc to set up the reverse for Rodman. Foul committed by Carr.
Well, what the Bulls have done on this particular play is spread the floor a little bit. The triangle hasn't been working, and by doing that, you open up the lane. Nice feed by Tony Kukoc, and right after that pass, Michael Jordan went over to Tony and got into his ear a little bit, saying, come on, you got to pick it up a little bit. You got to make some things happen. Not so much shooting from the perimeter, but put the ball on the floor and create.
Scottie Pippen returning for Tony Kukoc. How about this, guys? We played about 5 minutes, and thus far in the second quarter, Utah with 4 points, and Chicago with 4.
But the beauty of both these teams, we saw it on that last play, is that there's so much movement without the ball. There's guys not just standing around watching others play with it. Antoine Carr delivers. Oh, make a shot one time, please.
Bulls have missed their last 9 shots. 6.5 minutes without a field goal. Yet they lead 29-24. Now Jordan putting moves on Anderson. Yes. Well, that ends the streak.
Well, that's the offense that Phil Jackson was telling Michael to run.
Chicago leads by 7. You hear the chant of defense.
Well, small Chicago team out there right now. Utah should be taking it to the rim because there's just no shot blocking out there unless a Jordan or a Pippen come over.
Whoa! Morris from way downtown.
Like I said, take the ball to the rim or shoot from 30 feet.
We did discuss in the pregame meeting how Chris Morris, this would be his breakout game.
Chris Morris from beyond area code range.
Michael Jordan going one-on-one. The Jazz will live with this. You make him put it on the floor 2 or 3 times, he is going to score. And then Chris Morris comes off a pick, looking to just keep the continuity going. He said, hey, I've been on the bench so long, I'm putting one up no matter what.
We have 5 minutes and 57 seconds to go in the second quarter. The Bulls lead by 4.
Welcome back to Chicago. I'm Jim Gray. I'm now joined by the owner of the Utah Jazz, Larry Miller. Larry, a very unique situation. Because of your religious beliefs, you missed the game on Sunday because it's a day of rest and a day for your family. How difficult was it for you to miss that game, and how did you find out about the final score?
Well, it was very difficult. I found out about the final score because I listened to the radio the last couple of minutes of the game. If it goes 7 games, I'll wind up missing 3 of them. 3 of them are on Sunday.
So a lifetime dream, and then you're going to miss almost half the games. Does it tug at you? Do you want to be there?
Well, to be honest with you, I'd like to. But, yeah, I think you got to decide who and what you are and stick with it. So that's what we've chosen to do.
Larry, how'd you get this good of a seat? You're in your same front row position.
Well, just before game time, the Bulls owner, Jerry Reinsdorf, friend sitting next to me, had an extra seat. He said, hey, give it to Larry Miller and put him up there. So here I am.
Enjoy the game, Larry.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, Mark.
All right, thank you, Jim. The Chicago Bulls went 7 minutes and 2 seconds between field goals. They had missed 9 in a row before Michael Jordan was able to convert. The Bulls now lead 31-27. We have 5.5 to go in this first half. Karl Malone has struggled here in the first half, just 2 of 7 from the field, 6 points, 2 rebounds, foul committed by Jud Buechler.
Mark, you talked about the offensive struggles for the Bulls. They started off the game 10 for 14. Since then, after 9-minute mark, 2 for 12, but their rebound dominance has kept them in the lead, albeit very slightly at this time as Karl Malone gets great deep position.
And it brings Utah within 2. Chicago has led from the start. They were up 6-0. They were up 8-1. Very low scoring second quarter. Utah with a 9-6 edge to this point. And we have just under 5 minutes to go in the second. Rodman, who the last couple of games is looking for his shot, has not been looking here tonight. Giving up the ball. Jordan able to save it.
What a great rebound. Michael Jordan knew exactly where that ball was going the whole way.
Hopper cut off by Stockton and trying to go glass. Rebound Jordan.
Well, both teams very small right now. You shouldn't even be thinking about settling for jump shot. Try to get the ball in the basket or do what Michael just did, get to the offensive glass.
And Jordan with 15 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Bulls have a 4-point advantage. Now Rodman defending against Malone, who lost the dribble. Hopper over to steal and is knocked out of bounds by Malone.
Terrific defensive help by Ron Harper as Rodman, in all kinds of difficulty, flopped on the play, bailed out, but Rodman came down to help him out.
Bill, several of the Utah players have been saying they're not accustomed to the long arms reaching in on the part of the Bulls, talking about Harper and Pippen and Jordan. They rarely see that. Chris Morris knocked it out of bounds right there.
Marv, that was a great move from the early championship years with B.J. Armstrong when he was the guard. When Orlando went with their big guards, Nick Anderson and Penny Hardaway, they got rid of all the little guys and brought in the Rodmans and the Harpers and the Koo coaches, because those are the guys that can create those passing lane difficulties for the opponents.
22nd timeout has been called with 3:53 to go in this first half.
Karl Malone working so hard without the ball to get open and keeps Rodman on his back. This time he delivers, keeps both hands on the ball, and then looks right down at that hand. Then lost the dribble. Karl not as sharp as you would expect him to be in this game, with the ball handling, with the little short shots to the ground again. And every time he hits that ground, that hand just gets a little bit more opened up. The shot chart for Karl, everything inside. Now he has become, I think, the best big man jump shooter in the game, along with Patrick Ewing from the Knicks, but not there tonight.
Pippen. And for Scottie Pippen, 2 of 5 from the field.
And that's the early offense for Utah, where Malone runs the floor, tries to get that position in the paint. Good transition defense that time by Chicago to get back and cut it off.
Adam Keefe has come on for the first time. Malone rejected, recovered by Anderson, and it's a 24-second violation.
Tough break for the Jazz, but they're not playing well. Jerry Sloan coming back with some of his regulars here, but they're only down 4 points. Once they hit some sort of rhythm, they have a great opportunity to take over this game.
Yes, 1 second. Russell getting sent to check back in. Here's Harper for 3. Ron Harper with his first field goal. Bulls lead 36-29.
It seems like Ron Harper gets a 3 a game here on this floor. He usually saves it, however, to the fourth quarter.
Morris being played by Buechler. Now Longley on Malone. Malone squaring up. He's been off. Bushler rebounds.
Short every time for Carl. I think it's in his footwork.
On his short. And he drew the foul. Michael Jordan with that beautiful change of pace. Able to accelerate. Jump the step. He'll go to the line. When we come back, you're watching the NBA on NBC. Reminder coming up at halftime, the Prudential halftime report. We'll be hearing from the new coach of the Orlando Magic, Chuck Daly, who'll be on the NBA Showtime set with Hannah Storm. Peter Vesey will also get first half analysis from the Dr. Julius Irving and Bazaar, Mike Fratello. That's all coming up on the Prudential halftime report.
Karl Malone, the man who's got to get it done. The numbers haven't been there. Receives the great screen, but then so many dribbles, allows 3, 4 Bulls right in there. Scottie Pippen gets his second block on the night. And you look at the statistical analysis for Karl. First and third quarters, very strong. Second and fourth, not there. And the questions keep jumping up in Chicago about the delivery of the mail.
In fact, Scottie Pippen went over to Karl Malone prior to his attempting those critical free throws the other night and whispered to Malone, you know, the mailman does not deliver on Sundays.
I think Karl Malone has to start mixing it up a little. Here's some good full court pressure by Chicago and forcing the turnover.
Caught him off guard. I don't think anybody was ready for that. Way too close to the baseline for Hornacek. Inbound to the foul line to a big man against the press.
So the Bulls get it back. 2.5 to go in this first half. Chicago leads by 8. Pippen being played by Russell. Hornacek on Jordan. Longley for Harper. Beautiful ball movement.
Michael Jordan getting in the air, thinking shot, but able to stay up there so long, make the adjustment, and a terrific look by Luke Longley to find the open man.
So the Bulls now lead 39-29. Delay of game called. That's the warning on the Bulls.
Ron Harper wanting a foul called as he slid down the lane. Jazz need to get some offense going here. Collapsing Bull defense has been too tough.
This is the biggest lead of the night for Chicago. Shot clock at 5. Hornacek ran into a crowd. Malone could not put it back. And a foul against Utah. Foul committed by Adam Keefe.
Well, Karl Malone is not going to ever get a better look than that point-blank range. Obviously, the hand has to be part of it. Karl does not want to use that as an excuse, but he's thinking about the hand, having trouble handling the ball, but he is right there in perfect offensive rebounding position, and then just squeezed it out. I think Karl's got to mix up his game a little bit, too. He continues to just run to that left block. He's also an effective player up at that right at the key area where he can shoot or drive.
Well, Utah now over the foul limit, so Tony Kukoc at the line. Remember, Friday night, the scene will shift to Salt Lake City, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. That'll be Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Michael Jordan and the Bulls going up against Karl Malone, John Stockton of the Utah Jazz. Malone and company unbeaten on their home floor since back in February. That's Game 3, Friday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 in the West, right here on NBC. Bulls trying to go up 2-zip. Utah hoping to tie the series at 1. John Stockton getting some pressure from Harper. Chicago in the midst of a 10-0 run. We have 1:40 left in this first half, and some aggressive play on that bump between Harper and Stockton.
Well, both teams, I'm sure, with 2 days to think about it, realize that they want to be more physical within the rules, but Harper really starting to lay some lumber on Stockton.
With the steal. Jordan putting the moves on. The look away for Pippen. 12 unanswered by Chicago.
And Ron Harper bringing the crowd to its feet. Chicago defense stifling. Need leadership and poise for Utah right now. They go to their MVP.
Well, this is Chicago Bull basketball. Flurries on defense, creating turnovers, getting the steal, and then quickly converting at the other end as Jordan breaks through the defense and spotted Scottie Pippen way before that, but delivered it right on time for Scottie to finish with an explosive dunk on that short foot.
Now on Pippen, it took the Bulls over the limit, and here's Karl Malone, 2 of 4 at the line.
Marv, it's all falling apart for the Jazz right now. They've fallen behind by 14. Try to get some sort of rhythm here for Jerry Sloan and his Jazz. Get out of here with something going in your favor, and then come out and start over in the second half.
And Chicago has outscored Utah 18-10 in the second quarter. We're approaching a minute left in the half. The Bulls lead 43-30. Jordan through the foul.
And again, another outstanding adjustment by Michael Jordan. Driving to the lane, really was thinking pass out to Toni Kukoc, but as soon as he hears the whistle, make sure he got the ball up towards the basket. Really wouldn't matter because both teams in foul with the foul problems, but that's just how alert and aware he is to make that adjustment.
And Michael is hearing the chant of MVP from the Chicago crowd.
There, though, is this year's MVP, who has not had a strong game. The Utah Jazz in trouble when they're back on their heels, and Michael's got his tongue hanging down there on the bottom of his chin.
What a recovery by the Bulls. They went better than 7 minutes without a field goal. They missed 9 straight shots, but they recaptured their stride and lead by 15. As Hornacek made the move, foul is called. Foul on Pippen. That is his second. On the subject of the most valuable player voting, Karl Malone edging out Michael Jordan, followed by Grant Hill and Tim Hardaway and Glenn Rice.
One of the closest votes in history. The other one being the time that Charles Barkley and Michael and Magic Johnson got it. No, that was the wrong year there. Excuse me.
We'll edit that out of the telecast book. Utah now 7 of 13 at the line.
That was terrible.
A self-inflicted blow by Bill Walton. Don't let it get to you. Just under a minute to go in the first half, and the Bulls now lead by 14. They isolate Jordan against Hornacek. Salvatore, the outside official, indicating a pushing foul on Utah. It is on Hornacek, his second.
Once again, the percentages. Michael Jordan so aware. Michael tends to sometimes settle for the jump shot because defenders will back off him, give him the room. He can just go up and shoot very comfortably. But with the Jazz in foul trouble, take it to the basket, draw the foul, get some freebies at the line.
And Jordan is 4 for 5 from the line. He has had a magnificent first half. 19 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. Just continuing along with what has been a sensational career in terms of NBA final play.
And the amazing thing about these finals, like last year against Seattle, Michael is not really shooting the ball that well. He's had some streaks, but he's not satisfied with his shooting.
You guys agree, though, this is about the best we have seen the Bulls play during the playoffs?
In all aspects. Not just their offense, but their passing is terrific. Their defense has been suffocating. The Jazz can't get anything on, and they've brought the crowd to their feet to close it out here.
A rousing standing ovation for the Bulls. Final seconds of the half. Chicago by 16. Jordan putting moves on and then had it knocked away. Last touched by the Jazz, and you know that he wanted to end the half with an emphatic move.
Phil Jackson coming with offense here. Kerr and Pippen for Harper and Rodman.
We're down to 2 9/10 seconds remaining in this first half. Chicago has outscored Utah 22-11. Here in the second quarter, the Jazz without a field goal the last 5 minutes and 17 seconds.
Well, the Bulls wanted it for a side out of bounds play, but the ball did not go over the rim, ruled by the official, so it's obviously underneath.
And Kukoc will throw in. Finds Jordan, who fires. That's the end of the first half. Mastery by the Chicago Bulls. They lead the Jazz 47-31. Jordan with 20, Malone with just 9 will be joining Hannah Storm for the Prudential halftime report right after these messages.
Halftime of Game 2 in Chicago with the Bulls leading the Jazz 47-31. Michael Jordan leading all scorers with 20 and all rebounders with 8. And Karl Malone with the injury to his shooting hand, suffering through a bad first half, just 3 of 12 from the field for 9 points. Welcome back, everybody. Hannah Storm and Peter Bessie, and we are joined by the new head coach of the Orlando Magic, Chuck Daly. Congratulations, Chuck.
Thank you very much.
You know, we're going to keep in the broadcasting mode for just a moment here and have you comment on the first half.
Well, the first half is about the problems that you have with the Chicago Bulls, and that's basically you can't score against them. They take all of your scoring away, and we see it on the board.
Now, why did you want to leave this glamorous job of broadcasting and get back into coaching in a job that you actually turned down a couple of weeks ago?
Well, I found out what hard labor that you people suffer through here, so I decided to go back to more of an easy life.
What made you change your mind about the job?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I had been intrigued by it over the last year, maybe suffering through watching teams play. I've always been in love with the game. I like to teach the game. I think the game is going to change because I think we're going to have rule changes. And so consequently, this came about. Originally, I said no. And then all of a sudden, when I hung up the phone, I said, I think I made a mistake. I'm intrigued by this job. I like this team. I like this area. I revisited, and it happened.
Chuck, you said that when you were out of retirement that you were only going to come back for crazy money. Now, I assume $5 million a year is crazy money. But you also said that you only wanted to come back to coach a championship contender.
Well, there are not a lot of those around, quite frankly. There's one out here, and this club has been there a long time. But I think times are going to change at some point. I think we're going to get into the recruiting wars very soon in another year. I think certain teams are going to have more advantage than others. Look at Miami, Orlando, Phoenix, LA, and New York. And we've got this first class coming out. I think some exciting things can happen over the next 2 or 3 years.
Doesn't it bother you to come back and coach a team that sabotaged the coach, Brian Hill? I mean, that could easily happen to you, although Chuck Daly and the Orlando Mutineers has a kind of nice ring to it.
You know, Peter, I think most coaches are probably one step away from that happening during the course of a year or over the course of their season. Everybody today who owns a team wants to win, and it isn't going to happen for everybody. The teams that win are not going to have a problem. It's the teams that, you know, I tell it this way. We've got 29 teams, CEO money. We're going to change 15 of those. You took 29 companies, that wouldn't happen. But you've got to win in this business or they're going to change the head, and sometimes it comes sooner or later.
Now, did you talk to any of the players before you took the job?
No, I really haven't talked to him. I did see Horace Grant yesterday in the building. He happened to come out of a room. I got down on my knee and said, let's play. You know, please play, because that's what it's all about. You've got, you know, I understand the game. It's about players. It's not about the coaches, although we've gotten some very glamorous coaches in the league. Larry Bird, Rick Pitino are unbelievably glamour people in terms of the coaching profession.
Penny Hardaway lobbied hard for you, and his contract is up in 2 years. You have a 3-year deal. Is that extra year an inducement to get Penny Hardaway to re-sign?
Well, you could say that, but who knows what's going to happen in those 2 years? I might make too strong a demands on Penny Hardaway. I saw what he made a serious mistake in the last 2 games. Any guy can go out and get 40 against a Riley coached team, then you've got to kind of expect that every night.
What are your realistic expectations for this team? They lost in the first round of the playoffs this year.
Well, I went down there with Brendan Sewer, and we were on the plane, and he said, well, I get it. I get up at 4 o'clock now. I can't sleep, and I don't think we're ever going to win a game. So the Prince of Pessimism is back. But I think this is a club. I think this is a club that has some interesting parts to it. And I think, you know, a lot of selling to be done. Got to get tougher physically, work defensively, and see where it goes.
The Prince of Pessimism, and we are glad to have you back.
That's a Bob Ryan job.
Big Daddy Rich.
Okay, congratulations again, Chuck. Thanks for joining us. And when we return, we'll bring in Julius Erving and the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Mike Fratello, to analyze the first half between the Jazz and the Bulls. But first, a message from Prudential and a word from the NBA. It's halftime in Chicago. The Bulls are leading the Jazz 47-31 in Game 2. Now let's talk about the first half with Dr. J and Mike Fratello. Doc, Karl Malone said coming into the game, the one thing he wanted to do is score more inside. Can you assess his performance in the first half?
Well, he's not scoring a lot of points here, and the Bulls have been playing him with various people. They've been playing defense on Karl Malone somewhat by committee, and he's getting these multiple looks on defense. Early it was Luke Longley, and Luke forced him outside. Then Brian Williams comes in and forces him to shoot the jumper, turning a great player into a fall-away jump shooter. It's very necessary for the Jazz, not only Karl Malone, to try and get some stuff in transition, and Karl was able to do a little bit of that. If we see too much of that, you know Rodman's the answer. He's seen Jason Caffey play him. He's seen Dennis Rodman play him. I think if Karl Malone really gets off and going, those are the two guys who will give us that power forward matchup that we've been craving in this series. But so far, he's been in check by 4 different people, and he only has 9 points.
And maybe hurt somewhat also by the injured area on his shooting hand. Now, Mike, Utah committed to single coverage on Michael Jordan. It burned him at the end of Game 1, but they said they were going to stick with that game plan here today. Hey, he's on his way to a triple-double. How'd that force him to change things?
Well, sometimes there's a residual effect from the last game. When you get beat on the last shot and you were remembering this, you go into the next game and you say, okay, let's be prepared to make some changes if we have to. But when you have a halftime stat sheet that says 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists, he's doing it every way. Turnaround jump shots, in the open floor, breaking the defense down, looking to take it to the basket for scores or free throw opportunities. And then last but not least, this is the consummate team player. After starting at the game and making 5 out of his first 7 shots, Jordan starts in the elbow area and is going to try and free himself up to catch the entry pass. On the opposite side of the floor, Howard Eisley has said, hey, look, that's enough. I'm going over here and randomly double team Michael Jordan and try to get the basketball out of his hands. The problem is Jordan, being the unselfish player that he is, sees Eisley on the way for the double team. Rodman reads the situation, dives in the middle of the lane to take his player, and now Steve Kerr just goes to the open area on the floor and just kind of hangs out knowing that Michael Jordan is going to make a move, find the open guy, and there are none more unselfish than Michael Jordan. The ultimate team player. He beats you with the score, he beats you with the pass, and he rebounds as well.
Wow, the 31 points for Utah. That ties the second lowest first half scoring in finals history. Chicago's defense doing a great job. And Mike, we got a note on one of your guys. We got to acknowledge him. On Monday, the NBA naming Terrell Brandon of the Cleveland Cavaliers the winner of the 1996-97 NBA Sportsmanship Award, designed to honor the player who best represents the ideals of sportsmanship on the court. Brandon received the award from NBA Commissioner David Stern and will donate $25,000 to his former school in Portland, Grant High School. It's halftime in Chicago. Back for the second half right after this.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential, bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial services.
Back in Chicago, Marv Albert, along with Bill Walton and Matt Guokas, a 16-point lead for the Bulls over the Jazz in this game 2 of the best-of-7 NBA Finals series. And the Chicago Bulls just dismantled the Utah Jazz in the second quarter. They outscored them 22-11. Let's check out the Miller Lite halftime statistics. First of all, the scoring rundown for the Chicago Bulls, who shot just under 46%. 12 of 27 from two-point range.
Well, so much of their offense was generated by their defense. Got out and ran more. Didn't get a lot of fast break points, but Michael Jordan starting to find his touch, and that is bad news for Utah.
And Michael Jordan overall 20 points on 7 out of 14. I'll look at the Jazz rundown.
The offense just non-existent there, Mar. They couldn't shoot a lick, 31%, resulting in basically no assists for a very good passing team. Karl Malone struggled mightily. He's the guy who's got to get it done. No perimeter shots really went down for him. Lots of easy misses. The shots have been there for the Jazz. They just haven't been able to knock them down, including from the free throw line, Marv. Not a good sign for Utah.
Overall, Bill Malone in his 20 minutes, 3 of 12 from the field. We'll be back in a moment.
Ahmad Rashad back in Chicago. Phil Jackson told his team at halftime to stay aggressive. He really, especially on the defensive end, felt like their aggressive defense was really taking Utah apart. Now, I talked to Scottie Pippen as he was coming out, and he said, now, I asked him how he felt. He said, well, I feel kind of like Willis Reed felt when he came out for Game 7 back in 1970. Let's go down to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Ahmad. Well, Jerry Sloan is not feeling good at all. He told his team at halftime, hey, guys, you're being outworked, you're being out-hustled, and you are failing to compete. Go out there, take a hard foul, make something happen. Very unhappy with the shot selection. They shot only 31% in the half. Spoke to Karl Malone. He says he wants the ball to keep coming down to him. His hand is bothering him, Marv, but he won't make any excuses, he said.
All right, thanks, Jim. Only one team in NBA history, the 1948 Baltimore Bullets, have ever come back from more than 15 points down at halftime to win a finals game. The Bulls have a 16-point advantage on the Jazz as this third quarter gets underway.
And that's the kind of aggressiveness Jerry Sloan is looking for. Brian Russell knocking the ball loose and getting on the floor and getting after it.
Brian Russell continues to struggle in almost all facets of the game. He's really relying far too much on his athleticism rather than just on good, smart basketball plays.
And the foul called on Greg Ostertag. That is his first. Phil Jackson opening up with Ron Harper, Michael Jordan at the guard, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, and Luke Longley up front. Harper played by Stockton. Harper got the step. Rodman passed on the shot, and now a two-hander. Dennis showing the entire repertoire. A minute gone by in the third quarter. Rodman applauding that call. It is against Utah. Foul on Ostertag again.
And he nailed Michael Jordan running along that baseline as definitely the Utah Jazz have come back with a much more aggressive nature.
And a technical has been called. A technical foul on Ostertag.
Well, early offense for the Utah Jazz running the baseline, and Michael Jordan not really expecting that shoulder and hip move by Ostertag. Got nailed.
And that's the first technical handed out tonight. Michael Jordan not able to take advantage. In game one on Sunday, of all people, 74-year-old assistant coach Tex Winter was hit with a technical foul. He complained in very low-key fashion. You wonder, is he the oldest man ever to be hit with a technical in an NBA Finals game? You can ponder that for a while. Here's Harper. And a foul. A lot of whistles here at the start of the third.
Well, you know, what Tex Winter was complaining about was the hard, illegal screens by the Jazz getting up into the man where the man couldn't move, and he kept complaining and complaining about it, and then he finally said the magic words to the referee. Check the rule book.
Those were the magic words. Tex, the master of the triangle. Greg Ostertag has committed 3 fouls within 79 seconds.
Truth always a defense to libel.
Yes. And Ron Harper at the line for the first time. Only 11 points scored by the Jazz in the second quarter. That equals an NBA Finals record. Fewest points in a quarter. Chicago with 11 last year in the finals against the Seattle Sonics.
You can't say enough about the defense of Ron Harper on John Stockton, who stood up tall over the top of him. forced him into very difficult passing angles. Stockton just has not had good looks.
And this particular play here, Jeff Hornacek can put the ball on the floor and get into the lane. Ron Harper checking on the pick and roll here. Normally wants to send that baseline, but Stockton able to get over the top. And then Hornacek getting into the lane, and he is a tough shot taker and maker. And Dennis Rodman just bent over as he is wont to do.
Second called on Rodman. And Hornacek with only his 6th point.
Now Jeff Hornacek, a nice compliment to Stockton Malone, able to shoot the perimeter shot, an excellent three-point shooter and free thrower, and picking it up in the playoffs.
The Bulls now lead 49-33. Chicago Bulls trying to make it 5 NBA championships the last 7 years. Utah to the NBA Finals for the very first time. Harper, yes. Ron Harper has been a very important player these first 2 games of the final series.
As he was in the closeout of the Miami series in the 4th quarter where he dominated.
Illegal defense, the call.
Marv, it's like the Bulls realized after game 1 that this Utah team is very good, and they've all come to play today, particularly Ron Harper, whose regular season, not that many minutes, but he's really stepped it up here in the postseason, shooting much better, pounding the boards, now pounding the ear of Jerry Sloan.
Second illegal defense leading to the technical foul. So the Bulls now lead 51-34. Going back to the second quarter, Utah has gone more than 7 minutes without a field goal. Here's Malone.
Terrific box out by Jordan, and Karl Malone just cannot find the range.
Karl Malone is now 3 for 13. He has had a nightmare.
He is just flipping the ball around the rim. Even a couple that he has made, he has flipped up there. He's got to take it stronger to the rim.
Stockton, and he drew the foul. John Stockton went to the crossover on the baseline, and he was blocked by Harper.
Generally, when you have a tough game, you want to come right back and just be at such a level of range that nobody can stay with you. But Karl is letting that ball go too soon. I think he's shooting on the way up almost every time and not taking advantage of the size and strength. There's really nobody on this team, if in the league, that can guard Karl Malone if he plays his game.
Especially when he catches the ball 2 feet in the paint right under the rim like that. That's usually very easy field goal and possible 3-point play for Karl. But I think Karl's got to mix it up a little. I said that in the first half. He's got to go out around that top of the key area, take a couple jumpers, take a couple of drives.
And the foul called on Malone. That's his first. And what is with John Stockton? There was criticism, not taking enough shots, not being aggressive enough, the 7 turnovers in game 1, and thus far tonight. And certainly we have a long way to go, but 1 of 5 from the field. That's it.
And most of those 5 shots taken in the very early going, tried to establish an offense, but the long arms again as Luke Longley finds that left-handed hook. Luke giving a man. Along with Phil Jackson, a lot of static about Luke's shot selection with that left hand.
So Chicago leads by 18. Here's Hornacek. Yes. So the Jazz finally able to find the range.
Well, come playoff time, and especially in the finals, it's so hard to run set offense. The defense is so good, they take you out of it. Yet Utah continues to try to run that set offense against sticky defense.
Traveling violation on Longley. You seem to enjoy the travel by Luke.
Well, Luke has come such a long way, and he has become a terrific player. Footwork's still a little suspect at times, but he is able to deliver. Ouch. Utah just struggling.
Offensive foul on Greg Foster.
And Jerry Sloan very upset with his team right now as Greg Foster going to places where he normally doesn't work. He's usually out on the perimeter taking that jump shot.
Well, the Jazz had gone 8.5 minutes without a field goal. Timeout is called. The Bulls are up by 16.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. By Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. And by IBM, solutions for a small planet.
Well, these aerial views of the city of Chicago being brought to you by Goodyear, Marv Albert with Matt Lucas, Bill Walton, Bob Rashad, Jim Gray working the sideline. A look at the big four tonight. Michael Jordan has done the job. 20 points, 7 out of 14. Scottie Pippen quiet to this point. Karl Malone has been dormant, 3 of 13. And John Stockton also quiet on 1 of 5 from the field. Let's check in with Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad?
All right, Marv, I was talking to Ron Harper the other day, and he said that, you know, Michael Jordan is not the only one who's always looking for challenges. He said his challenge this entire playoff series is stopping the top point guards in the league. In the first round, he had Rod Strickland, then Mookie Blaylock, then Tim Hardaway, and now John Stockton, and he has done admirably with all 4 of those guys, Marv.
Ahmad, he's also done it at the offensive end here tonight. Scottie Pippen not able to hit, but it was punched down on a back tap. Good play by Longley.
The beautiful thing about a guy in Harper's situation, when you play with a great player like a Jordan, a Malone, or a Bird, you just have to do your job like Luke Longley throwing down dunks. The big guys, the stars, Jordan and Pippen, they'll take care of the whole big picture. You just do the little things. That's what Harper has done throughout.
Bulls now lead 55-37. Illegal defense called for the 3rd time against the Bulls.
Well, Scottie Pippen in the low post, drawing the double team from Greg Foster, and not a wise double team, despite the fact that Pippen had a size advantage over Hornacek, because nobody who expected the double team on the backside left that opening for Longley.
Hornacek just so short in that matchup. His arms, even though they were up, had no impact on Scottie's pass over the top as Dennis takes a rest. Next to that Utah bench, certainly with a few words.
I think Utah has to switch it up a little bit. The inside game is not working right now. They got to look for more pick and rolls. It was successful to some degree in the first half. I think there was something like 7 out of 13 successes on their pick and rolls, and especially when Utah runs it at the top of the floor. Tough for Chicago to defend that.
And Tony Kukoc has made his return. Dennis Rodman hearing it from the crowd. 7 rebounds, 4 points for Rodman. Kukoc played 9 minutes in the first half. Good pass from Malone, finding Foster, but he was blocked. Foster retrieves. Malone. Oh, Karl Malone with the stuff off the setup from Foster.
And all set up by that high pick and roll and some good passing. And Karl not worrying about that sore hand on that power dunk.
Harper, yes. Bulls lead 57-40.
But Jerry Sloan is just going nuts on the sideline over there. Blocking foul, tough call against Harper. I don't really think this has been a numbers game. It's been a hustle game. Jim Gray has been reporting that Jerry Sloan has just been so disappointed with the team's hustle. Finally, Karl Malone gets free because of the quickness of Foster and the continued motion. But right now, the Bulls just sharper, quicker in every aspect. And Utah struggling to find anything.
Open opportunity for Kukoc. Tony Kukoc knocking down a 3, and the Bulls lead by 20. It's their biggest lead of the night. Malone trying to squeeze his way through, and he drew the foul. Foul on Longley. That is his 3rd.
Chicago just advancing the ball. Utah very slow getting back on defense, and Kukoc all day long to line that one up. Ron Harper looked over to the bench during that last transition and said he needed a breather. He's working very hard defensively, but he's also winding up with a lot of open shots. He's tired.
Harper replaced by Kerr. Hit a couple of three-pointers earlier. And a blocking foul against Chicago. Foul on Kerr. That is his first with 6:22 to go in this third quarter. A reminder, Sunday, 4 o'clock Eastern. NBC Sports with a very special preview of the 97th U.S. Open. A look at Tiger Woods' drive to win yet another major. No one has won the Masters and the U.S. Open in the same year since a fellow by the name of Jack Nicklaus back in 1972. Plus a look at Congressional Country Club on the par 3 18th, a finishing hole that could have dramatic consequences. Plus much more as golf's greatest championship nears. The U.S. Open preview Sunday, 4 o'clock Eastern, right here on NBC. 60-42, Chicago. Jordan. Yes.
That's a tough way to play the pick and roll for Utah. Brian Russell stepping behind Luke Longley to give Jordan a 3, even though he's shooting just 12% coming in today from behind the line. You got to be more aggressive and assertive defensively than Utah has been tonight.
Stockton. And Jordan with the quick hands able to save it. The Bulls have been on every loose ball.
Here's the isolation for Jordan.
Being played by Russell. Putting moves on and hit it.
When Michael gets the outside shot going, and he's starting to feel it right now.
Ryan Russell had the foot on the line. It's a two-pointer. The Bulls now lead 64-44. Russell a 2 for 9 the other night in game 1. He's 2 for 7 here this evening. And the foul against the Jazz. It is a hold on Keefe.
Michael Jordan behind the pick and roll. Great screen by Luke Longley. No step out. I think Utah can probably double team that because Luke Longley's not going to break you from the free throw line, and then Jordan patiently, and Brian Russell continues to flail away defensively rather than holding his ground.
Bulls have hit their last 5 shots. Isley is back. Stockton will take a rest. Just under 5 left in the third. Here's Jordan. And he was fouled.
Well, in game 1, Michael Jordan was 5 for 17 from the perimeter, meaning before he raised up for that game-winning shot, just 4 for 16. And actually, that was Brian Russell's probably best defensive play of the night. Kept Michael Jordan from driving, got a hand up on the shot Michael just made. A great play, but now Michael seems to have found the range from the perimeter, which will set up those kinds of drives to the hole.
And Michael again hearing the chant of MVP. He now has 25 points along with 10 rebounds and 5 assists. Could be on his way to a triple-double. Michael Jordan has never had a triple-double in an NBA Finals game. It has been done 25 times by 13 players.
What do you think? Michael and Ahmad just sort of sit around and talk about the records he doesn't have and then just say, well, I'll go for that one today?
Is on pace. The only question will be in the assist column, and he has 5. 4.5 left. With the block and the foul. That's his 4th.
Well, Adam Keefe is a player for Utah who has fallen out of favor in Jerry Sloan's book, but he's the kind of guy so active around the basket, knows how to get open underneath as he did there, throws his body around, creates a lot of contact.
Adam Keefe used sparingly, 6'9", 240-pounder out of Stanford. Spent a couple of years with Atlanta. This is 3rd season with Utah. #1 pick by the Hawks, traded to Utah in the deal involving Tyrone Corbin. Luke Longley. Here's the applause. He sits down. Leads with 6 points.
Adam Keefe and Luke Longley, just another in a long series of redheads that have dominated this NBA for years. Red Kerr, Dave Cowens.
I'm trying to feel for another possibility.
That's enough.
Ryan Williams has come on, replacing Luke Longley. Shot clock at 2. Jordan. Pippen.
Brian Russell too close. Didn't have a body on Scotty. He just reached up over and kept it alive.
Jordan stripped by Isley. Jordan able to get back to it, and it leads to a jump ball.
Michael Jordan upset with the official on this particular play, but a nice defensive play by Shandon Anderson to get a lot of basketball to knock that loose. Obviously, Jordan didn't think so, but then Michael not worrying about it until he scrambles after the loose one.
But isn't that what makes the Bulls so great? Is that their best player, Michael Jordan, he's the one who's working the hardest on the defensive end, diving on the loose balls, digging it out, setting the tempo and the pace, inspiring his teammates.
And the tip controlled by the Jazz.
Marv, the Bulls are in complete control because they've dominated the boards today. Unlike game one, now they're up 30-19 on the glass.
Malone foul, but a good play defensively by the Bulls, preventing the layup by Malone.
Actually, the Utah Jazz are not a good offensive rebounding team. Mainly because Karl Malone is shooting the ball so much, and many times it's a fadeaway shot or whatever, so he's not in position to rebound. So they don't get it from their big power forward and their best rebound. It comes from somebody, has to come from somebody else.
Foul was called on Kukoc. And here are the noisemakers, apparently a local promotion giving out what will be called clackers, and Malone has been hearing it. You can see the free throw career of Karl Malone. Remember, he came into the league shooting 48% and then improved dramatically. He certainly had his ups and downs in the last couple of years come playoff time. Malone is now 5 of 8 at the line tonight.
And the attempts for Karl are what's really important. He's going to make a good percentage. The last 4 road games, though, just 4 attempts per game in the playoffs from the line for Karl Malone. Not enough.
Jordan, yes! Michael Jordan going glass with the reverse. 68-47 Chicago. And a foul against the Bulls.
Well, Michael Jordan has made a couple of jump shots now, and that is setting up these drives, but starting on the right side, hanging in the air, clearing the defensive pressure, and using the glass on the opposite side just beautifully.
He turns the corner, and nobody closes him off. Everybody's trying to get in the air and block his shot, but he just keeps going until finally he passed all 3 guys and then reached out and dumped it in.
Well, Bill, the big reason is he's just flat out quicker than everybody else, and they just can't get there in time.
Not bad for a guy who's 34 years of age.
He's pretty good.
Good point. Utah now 19 of 28 at the line. That's 67%. Chicago leads by 20. Jordan. Yes. 30 for Jordan. 70-48 for Chicago with just under 3 remaining in the third. And here's Russell. A 3 for Brian Russell. So the Bulls now lead 70-51 over a Utah team that went 64-18 during the regular season. A franchise record 64. What a pass. Jordan for Williams.
It's all clicking now. Either the triangle offense, the spread, every defensive move Utah is making. Chicago is countering for an easy basket.
You know, you look back toward the end of the regular season for the Bulls, a season that saw them win 69 games. They had some uneven moments, certainly not impressive through a good portion of the playoffs. They have done it all here tonight. This easily their best performance. Keefe off the steal to find Anderson. And the Bulls now lead 72-53.
And finally, a good play for the Utah Jazz. The athleticism of Shandon Anderson so critical. But when he and Brian Russell and Adam Keefe are not getting it done off the bench, it's very difficult because tonight Karl Malone and John Stockton have not had it, but the passing for Chicago, just magnificent. A thing of beauty to watch.
And whistle against Chicago. That stopped the fast break attempt by Utah. Foul committed by Kukoc.
Oh, Michael Jordan working on Shannon Anderson, taking him right, taking him left, just getting up in the air so quickly and getting a good look at the rim. And then when he draws the double team, knows exactly where his teammates are. Brian Williams knifing to the basket for the easy dunk.
A minute 36 to go in the third. The Bulls with a commanding lead.
Michael Jordan consistently brilliant as this game has worn on. Coming out very sharp from the beginning and now has found his jump shot. And that's trouble for Utah. Turns the corner and reverses beautifully. And the nifty pass to Brian Williams.
And you look back at NBA history, the all-time leading scorer in NBA Finals play, Rick Barry, as you saw, followed by Michael Jordan. Jerry West just over 30 a game. Bob Pettit, 28 and change. Hakeem Olajuwon at 27 and a half per game. So Michael Jordan is number 2 behind Rick Barry.
Rick Rick played in 2 finals, 1967, 1975. Huge numbers for Barry. That's the kind of performance that Karl Malone needs to come up with, because this offense has completely disintegrated for the Utah Jazz.
72-54 Chicago. A minute 36 left in this third quarter. Let's check in with Jim Grant.
All right, Marv, during that timeout, Jerry Sloan told his guys, at least now you're not playing with any fear. You're playing with some reckless abandon. You guys, I can live with your effort now. At least you're competing. Not too dissimilar to a speech that he gave against the Rockets in Game 6 when he said, hey, guys, they were down by 12. Go out and give it your best effort. Similar type of thing, and they came back and won. Marv?
All right, Jim, you buy that, Bill? Are they still playing with fear?
They don't seem to be as sharp as they have been. This is I think, by far the poorest game that the Jazz have played.
Karl Malone now has 17, and it's Chicago with a 72-57 lead with a minute remaining in the third quarter. Brian Williams with his second field goal. He has 4.
Has to be particularly disappointing for Jerry Sloan, one of the fiercest defensive players, and his guys are just getting posted up 1 foot from the hoop and turning the ball over carelessly.
But excuse me, Mark, this is the best the Chicago ball movement has been that I've seen throughout the playoffs, despite the fact that Michael Jordan has taken a lot of it on himself. Everybody seems to be at least involved in touching the basketball. They've mixed their offense up beautifully.
And a reach-in foul is called. Now, turnover is a major problem for Utah the other night in Game 1. It has not been a problem tonight. That was just number 9 a moment ago. Scottie Pippen to the line with 25 seconds left in the third. Well, Sunday at 5 o'clock Eastern, Ahmad Rashad will host NBA at the Finals, taking a look at 3 pioneers of the WNBA and the obstacles that they have faced on their journey to playing professional women's basketball. This special will also go behind the scenes to find the personal subplots that will make this year's NBA Finals so compelling, and captures a side of these championships that most fans never see. It's all here Sunday, 5 o'clock Eastern on NBC. We're down to 15 seconds remaining in the third, and the Bulls have a 76-57 lead. The Jazz spreading out the floor. Isley putting moves on Kerr and hitting. Final seconds of the quarter. Brian Williams looking for the open receiver, and Kerr rammed by Isley.
And Jerry Sloan just flips the ball up in the air. Everything that could possibly go wrong as for the Utah Jazz. Isley, the only player who can say that, hey, I've really done anything out there tonight. Played extremely well in relief of John Stockton, but now he puts Steve Kerr, just phenomenal shooter, at the line.
Down to 2 6/10 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Kerr at the line for the first time, one of the better free throw shooters in the NBA over the years. Now Jud Buechler reports back, replacing Scottie Pippen. 77-59 Chicago. The Bulls hoping to take a 2-0 lead in Game 3 Friday night in Salt Lake City. 9 o'clock Eastern time here on NBC. Game 4 Sunday in Utah at 7:30 Eastern time. And Malone flicks it. Kerr on the intercept. Kerr fires. And that's the end of the third quarter. It's the Bulls 78 and the Jazz 59. The Bulls shoot 11 of 16 from the field in the third. We'll be back here in Chicago after these messages from your local station.
Copyrighted telecast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the NBA.
Back in Chicago, you can see the numbers during the course of the regular season. Fewest points for Utah after 3 quarters against Detroit back in January. 55 points tonight, only 59. 78-59 Chicago as this fourth quarter gets underway.
Marv, you see the Utah offense picking up with 28 points, but the defense absolutely porous, giving up 31.
Antoine Carr is back, as is John Stockton. Karl Malone sitting down here at the start of the fourth quarter. Bad pass saved by Williams.
Once again, Utah trying to run set offense, the bumping and grinding on the screens, trying to get position, and the tough, aggressive defense of Chicago forcing a turnover.
Nice pass. Adam Keefe rebounding the miss by Brian Williams.
Any man for Chicago that flashes in the post as Stockton can't find the range on the pull-up three. But any man for Chicago that steps into the lane, Marv, they just get whatever they want at the 1-foot range.
John Stockton is now 1 of 7 from the field. Hopper and Jordan with Bushler, Kukoc, and Williams. Nice pass. And here comes Stockton. Russell for 3. Rebounded by Kukoc.
Well, we talked earlier about the defensive strengths of the Bulls backcourt with the long arms. Those long arms also helping the passing. They're able to pass over the top of the shorter Utah players.
Russell tried to close that baseline, but Jordan with the quick move drew the foul.
Keep your eye on Tony Kukoc on the left part of your screen. Everything breaks down and the ball hit Michael Jordan's hands with the shot clock winding down. But Kukoc makes a nice move across the lane to get that opening. Can't finish the shot, however.
Michael Jordan leading Chicago with 30 points.
Utah couldn't have played that play any worse than they did.
Bushler. Another assist for Jordan. That is number 7. He is 3 assists away from his first ever triple-double in the NBA Finals. And the Bulls now lead 80-59. Champ of defense. Stockton for 3.
Now that's one of the most fluid plays that the Jazz have run in quite some time. It's just a straight post up, a couple of cutters go through, made the defense react, and then you get an open shot.
Stockton flips it down to Carr, stripped by Harper.
Oh, terrific play by Bushler. What balance, what presence.
The strip by Harper, and Bushler able to come up with that loose ball. Harper for 3. Air ball. He thought he was fouled. And now Jordan is fouled by Anderson.
Oh, terrific pass. A look up by John Stockton hitting the streaking Antoine Carr, who just cannot get to finish the play. It's knocked loose by Harper, and then he gets, or I should say, Carr gets knocked out of the play, and Bushler goes the other way.
Miller Genuine Draft presents a classic moment of the NBA at 50.
Tonight we look back at the NBA Finals record for the most points scored in a game. The Lakers versus the Celtics. It was Game 5 of the 1962 Finals. And Elgin Baylor of the Lakers lit up the Celtics for 61 points. Lakers won that game, but lost the series 4-3. In recognition of this classic moment, the Miller Brewing Company will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. Elgin Baylor, 61 points, the all-time leader, followed by that man, Michael Jordan, who had a 55-point game. And look at the Jordan rundown tonight. 30 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists.
That's what makes Michael Jordan so special. He is not by any stretch of the imagination a one-dimensional player. Maybe the best rebounder in the game, maybe the best defensive player in the game, maybe the best passer, maybe the best dribbler. Triple doubles and active playoff leaders. Michael Jordan trailing Scottie Pippen,
but has never done it in the NBA Finals, and he is 3 assists away. 81-62, Chicago. Coming up on 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Hornacek having difficulty with Jordan, and then flips it to Malone, and the foul is called on Chicago, holding foul. It is on Brian Williams. That is number 5.
The poor shooting continues for the Jazz. Stockton, just 1 basket in each half. Karl Malone, just 2 baskets in the second half. One of the things that makes it so difficult, though, for the Jazz to get the ball inside to Karl Malone, they're fronting him, Chicago is, and then they're pressuring the ball so well, and they're so quick on the weak side.
Malone, whoa.
Watch your face.
Firing a brick. Now, for those of you who would like to continue with the NBA Finals, we will have a post-game special on CNBC. That'll be right after the game. The entire cast will recount the game with highlights and live press conference interviews. Guests as we look back at Game 2 here in Chicago. The NBA Finals post-game special on CNBC immediately following the game. So stay with us. We have 8:45 left in the fourth quarter.
It was such an important factor for Chicago coming into this series to try and control John Stockton. Very difficult to do. They've done it so far in these first 2 games.
Hornacek getting the pass to the cutting Keefe. And the Bulls now lead 81-64. Worst loss of the season during the course of a regular season suffered by Utah. On 2 occasions beaten by 14. Once by the LA Clippers, once by the Toronto Raptors. Hopper throwing a brick. And here's Hornacek on a give and go that is broken up. Now during the playoffs, Utah did lose by 20 to the Los Angeles Lakers, so that is their overall worst defeat.
Well, in the playoffs, Utah averaging just 82 points a game on the road, so they've had their problems there, and they're averaging just over a little over 100 at home. It's a different team because they run more, the crowd gets behind them. They're a more active team, obviously, at the Delta Center.
Crowd wanted to travel, and now the foul is called. It is on Hornacek. The Delta Center in Salt Lake City, such a difficult place to play.
You look at the best home record in the regular season this year. Chicago at the top, Utah right there. In the postseason, though, the Jazz undefeated. The Bulls with the 1 loss to Atlanta. And Marv, you're right. That crowd will be so fired up in Utah.
One of the great crowds in the NBA. Also has that hip feeling. They're right on top of you. Longley getting it to Pippen to try to save it. And knocked out of bounds. Last touched by Anderson.
And in Utah, in Salt Lake City, there is a slight altitude factor. Michael Jordan was telling Gene Siskel before the game, because Gene asked him, what do you think about it? He said, it usually bothers us the first time we go in there, but that's the only time they've ever gone in is 1 time. So we'll see what happens on Friday.
Say altitude or altitude?
Altitude.
Oh, altitude.
Altitude.
Basket won't count. Foul on Anderson. And there is Gene Siskel. Always a source of Matt Guokas prior to games.
Matt looking for movie passes.
Right.
I'll buy a big guy.
Foul is called on Anderson. This is game 2 of the best of 7 NBA Finals Series. Game 1 Sunday night, won by Chicago, 84-82 on that dramatic jump shot by that man, Michael Jordan. Friday night, Salt Lake City, game 3, 9 o'clock Eastern time, right here on NBC. A look at the rest of the schedule. Game 3 on Friday, game 4 on Sunday.
Marv, I really thought the Jazz would play a lot better ball game than they did tonight. They just came out flat. Karl missed some easy shots early. They never got into it. When Chicago did struggle, the Jazz couldn't capitalize, and the shooting woes continue.
This has to be awfully disappointing. Malone with the tip, because he talked to the coaches after the first game, and they were not, obviously you don't like to lose on a last-second shot, but they were not disgusted because they felt they were correctable things they could adjust. Even talking about the turnovers, they felt there was a lot of fault that they can certainly make adjustments, but they have not. The Bulls came out fast, and it's just been a very poor game for Utah here tonight.
And as Jim Gray reported at the beginning, that this Utah team has responded magnificently to adversity all year long. They're just going to have to totally regroup and come out with a rededicated focus. Jordan, Harper on the break.
And Harper goes all the way. So the Bulls lead it 87-66.
But a loss is a loss. And, you know, there are no trends. Every game is different. Everything. Look at Scottie Pippen tonight. He's out there. He's playing. Nowhere near the tremendous performance he put on game 1. It wasn't needed because Michael Jordan is just having a gem. And every game is different. You take the win, you take the loss, you move on, you prepare for that next game.
Hornacek fires one up and hits. Jeff Hornacek with a two-pointer.
And the look on Bushler's face, who was all up over Hornacek, and Bushler said, what do I have to do to make this guy miss here? Chicago needs a timeout.
And the timeout is taken with 5:51 remaining in the fourth.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Nike, who encourages you to participate in the lives of America's youth. By Toyota and their full line of trucks. Toyota trucks always come through. And by Miller Genuine Draft, who reminds you it's time for better beer breath.
Back in Chicago, these aerial views of the Windy City being brought to you by Goodyear. It's been all Chicago. 5:51 remaining, 87-68 the score. One-time head coach, one-time standout player for the Chicago Bulls. Jerry Sloan has had a very long evening. Jerry played 11 NBA seasons, 10 as a member of the Chicago Bulls. This vintage footage of Jerry Sloan, known as a fierce competitor, 2-time All-Star, 6-time All-Defensive Team selection. And at times, it might be said he would let his emotions run over the edge. One-time head coach of the Bulls. He coached Chicago back in 80, 81, 82. From McLeansboro, Illinois, population of 2,700. It is his 9th season overall as head coach of the Jazz. That is the longest active tenure with one team, and he's done a terrific job. Could certainly put together a strong argument for Jerry Sloan as NBA Coach of the Year this season among many legitimate candidates.
Well, they win 50 games plus every year. This was the franchise record year. They conduct themselves on and off the court perfectly. They play a beautiful style of basketball, and every year the team seems to get better and better, adding more pieces to the puzzle.
I was fortunate enough to play with Jerry Sloan for 3 years here in Chicago. A great teammate, one of the best help defenders that I ever play with, and he certainly had to help me quite a bit Outstanding rebounder, huge hand, big hand, anything around the basket, anything he could get his hands. He wasn't a great leaper, but anything he got his hand on, he got it.
I would imagine those practice sessions going against Jerry would be most intriguing on your part.
Well, when he was your teammate, he was with you all the way. He played hard in practice. When you had to play against him, that in the other teams, very difficult.
And Michael Jordan called for the foul, got a piece of Hornacek. That is his first, and 3 shots coming up for Hornacek.
Michael Jordan playing the defense there, just a little bit of a reach, trying to get out on the break, calling for the foul. I did have the privilege of playing against Jerry Sloan. I still have scars, physical but mostly emotional.
Jerry Sloan took over in Utah 17 games into the 88-89 season, taking over from Frank Layden, one of only 2 Chicago Bulls to have his uniform number retired here in Chicago. The other is Bob Love. Out of 5:20 remaining in the 4th quarter. And the Bulls lead 89-70. The Jazz never got into it. It was 6-0 at the start. It was 8-1. Now you think, hey, it's early, it doesn't matter, but they just could not get going. Chicago leading all the way. Chicago went through a drought period and then snapped out of it. Utah went through several periods where they were not able to score. Never did snap out.
And Utah has been such a sharp team from the outset in virtually every game this playoff run for them. Now the Jazz sticking with their regulars, trying to find that rhythm. Interesting to see how long Sloan stays with these guys.
2 stars have not been able to do it. Karl Malone and coming up short. John Stockton has not played well.
Everything on Karl at the front of the rim.
Well, he has developed a habit, and it's become his shot where he doesn't really turn and square up and face the basket. It's kind of a half turn. He's had some success with it. It has looked terrible so far in these first 2 games.
Malone is now 6 of 20, 19 points. Stockton with 12 points, 6 assists. That's it. And a foul is called. Foul on the Jazz. Foul on Malone. That's his second. And Jordan to the line.
The Jazz scoring tonight just atrocious. One of the top scoring teams in the regular season. On the road, it has not been very successful. And Jerry Sloan talking about, we got to run harder, we got to put more points on the board. It's just not happened.
And Utah, a very good road team during the regular season at 26 and 15.
Matt, you were talking earlier about the Karl Malone shot and the footwork. Great defensive players, great defensive teams like Jordan and the Bulls. They work nonstop on making other players use bad footwork. That's something that the Bulls have done as they continue to pick apart. Jordan getting closer and closer to that triple-double.
That's assist number 9. He is 1 assist away from a triple-double. His first in NBA Finals play. Anderson able to hit. Anderson with only his second field goal. 91-76, 3:35 remaining in the 4th. Chicago Bulls on their way to taking a 2-0 lead. That would have been assist number 10.
Scotty, Michael's telling Pippen, hey, will you please make a layup?
Russell. And the Bulls now lead 91-79. The only question is, will Michael Jordan be able to get his triple-double? That time he's fouled.
Well, Scotty just handed the ball off to Michael Jordan and ran by and said, don't worry, I'll make the next one. Try it again. This was a perfect pass, and for some reason, Scottie Pippen just squeezed it out of there.
He's back there saying, hey, you guard him. I got this guy. He's not worried about it, but The Bulls are probably the best team in basketball in terms of spreading the floor and making teams chase them once they've got this lead. And then they just pick you apart with those big guards passing over the top to big men flashing at the hoop. Jordan supreme tonight.
37 for Jordan. And the Bulls lead 93-79 with 3 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Stockton. This is all cosmetic. When you look on the box score tomorrow, you'll see John Stockton with 14 points, but not able to do it in the early going. Jordan lost the dribble, and that will be a jump ball. Malone and Hoffer will go out the toss. Timeout has been called with 2:42 remaining in this fourth quarter.
Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen playing two-man basketball here. That missed assist, Michael looking over at him and said, what is wrong? I can't believe that.
Well, Michael Jordan with 37 points. Chicago up 93-81. 11 of 20 from the field for Michael Jordan. Scottie Pippen with 10 points. Karl Malone has not done it, only 6 of 20 shooting. John Stockton, 4 of 12. For Michael Jordan, one of his best performances in the NBA Finals. Overall best, that 55-point game back in June of '93 against Phoenix. And he's gunning for a triple-double, trying to become only the 14th player in NBA Finals history to collect a triple-double. The last to do it, Charles Barkley of the Phoenix Suns against the Chicago Bulls back in 1993. Magic Johnson has done it 8 times. Bob Cousy twice. Meanwhile, Utah has closed the gap. Chicago has led by as many as 22 points, but you don't really have a feeling that they're in this ball game, although there are 2:34 remaining.
Which is the same situation that the Jazz were in, down 12 with just a little over 2 minutes to go when they struck back and wiped out the Houston Rockets. Still hope, but as you say, Mark, the Jazz aren't playing that well.
All right, here's Pippen. Rebounded by Malone. This again would have been an opportunity for a 10th assist and a triple-double. Coming up on 2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Malone had it knocked away. And a foul. This is the closest since Chicago led 37-29. That foul was called on Jordan.
Very strong move to the hoop by Karl Malone. One of the toughest of the night.
Well, Malone is now 8 of 11 at the line.
And you can see a look of frustration on the face of Michael Jordan right now. He's looking down at the bench, looking at what Phil Jackson wants to call. And whether or not it's the triple-double or he's very unhappy with the way his ball club is finishing up, it's a little hard to tell, but he's not happy.
But Malone misses on the second. So the Bulls lead by 11 with just under 2 minutes remaining in the fourth.
Very small lineup here for Chicago.
Shot clock at 6. Rodman's pass picked off. A lazy pass thrown. And here comes Stockton. Hornacek for 3. And the Jazz very much alive. They are within 8 points with a minute and a half to go.
Need to play very smart here for the Jazz. Force fadeaways, force casual plays by the Bulls.
Here's Pippen. He thought he was fouled. No call. And last touch by Utah. It will be Chicago ball with a minute 16 remaining. Utah has outscored Chicago 26-15 in the fourth quarter. Again, they double up on Jordan. And a foul. The Jazz over the limit, so Jordan to the line. Hornacek is fouled out.
Well, that takes another offensive player away from Utah and a three-point threat. And if all of this is happening to Chicago in order to get Michael Jordan a triple-double, that's absolutely ridiculous. You're playing in the finals, you just get the win. I think the Bulls would be much better served if they took care of this ballgame and got Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen on the bench, get them some rest, rather than worrying about triple-doubles, if in fact that's what they're doing.
Getting him on the bench, this game's still in doubt.
No, I'm saying as the game was winding down, just take care of the game and not worry about statistics.
Michael Jordan, 14 of 19 at the line. Jeff Hornacek fouled out, played 31 minutes, scored 19 points. 1:11 remaining. And Chicago leads by 9.
That last foul drawn by Michael Jordan as Harper checks back in for defensive purposes. Been a master all night. But when you double team Jordan, you can't let him step through and split that double team. You got to make him spin out of it.
So Michael Jordan hits 1 of 2. 1:05 remaining in the fourth quarter. Bulls 94 and the Jazz 85. Bushler broke it up. Bushler with the steal. Down to 50 seconds. Utah is over the limit. Shot clock at 7. Pippen for 3. Busted 3. Jordan with the steal. So back-to-back turnovers by Stockton. Down to 25 seconds. And Jordan running it down. Bulls do have timeouts remaining, as did Utah. A poor shooting fourth quarter by Chicago, 4 of 17. Rodman. Dennis Rodman. And the Bulls now lead 97-85. That was a 3 for Rodman. Final seconds. The Chicago Bulls have defeated the Utah Jazz 97-85. The Bulls had the big lead most of the way. They led by as many as 22. Michael Jordan falls an assist shy of a triple-double. But Michael Jordan with another magnificent performance. 38 points, 13 rebounds, and 9 assists. And he's with Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad?
All right, thanks, Marv. Michael, were you aware that how close you were to a triple-double during the last part of that game?
Yeah, I was aware. Pippen made me aware when he missed that. But that's okay. We got to win. That's all that matters.
What was the difference in game 1 and game 2? It seemed like you guys came out very much prepared, and they really, were you disappointed in the effort that they had?
Well, we came out on the heels of what we did last game. And we were ready to take any adjustments that they made. They really didn't make the adjustments that we anticipated, so we basically stayed in the same focus that we did in the first game. And, you know, right out from the beginning, right to the end of the game, we just maintained our defensive pressure, operated, moved the ball around, got some good shots.
You told me earlier, a couple weeks ago, that was defense that wins championships, and you guys showed that tonight.
Yeah, we did tonight, but we know we're going into Utah, and they played well at home. The crowd's going to be real loud. These are countrymen pros. You talk about Stockton and Malone, they're going to be ready to play.
All right, Michael, congratulations on a great game. We will see you on Friday.
Thank you.
All right, let's go over to Jim Gray. Let's go back to Marv Albert.
All right, thanks, Ahmad. As Michael points out, Salt Lake City, always a difficult place to play. 2-0 is the tally in this series in favor of Chicago. 97-85 the final. We'll be right back. Back in Chicago, the Bulls leading all the way have defeated the Jazz 97-85. Michael Jordan, 38 points, 13 rebounds, and 9 assists. History not on the side of the Utah Jazz. And you go back in NBA lore, only 2 teams in NBA Finals history have ever come back from a 2-0 deficit. Boston Celtics, 1969, and Bill Walton's Portland Trailblazers in 1977. Friday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 Pacific. It's the Bulls and Jazz Game 3 of the NBA Finals right here on NBC. Coming up next, except on the West Coast, the Tonight Show following your late local news. And for those of you who would like to continue with the NBA Finals, interviews and post-game activities will be available on CNBC. That'll be right after these messages. For Matt Guokas, Bill Walton, Ahmad Rashad, and Jim Gray, I'm Marv Albert saying goodbye from Chicago. You're watching the NBA on NBC.